what's up, Elevate Academy? It is Talks with Ash Tuesday, and this is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be good. Eventually it will be good. Right now I have so many thoughts swirling around my head that I wanna share with you, and so I have my notes here. I put up a post earlier. I've just been really thinking about this topic, like so much. I'm gonna turn it into a blog post. Like we're gonna deep dive into this because we always talk about, having a message on your heart, and this is definitely a message on my heart, and it's part of what I'm all about and what I really want for all of you. And that is to get your message out into the world and to create impact through your influence. But none of that can happen if you are stuck and bound by a fear of failing, because being successful, hi Lori, being successful is a huge part of that is failing, right? And failing forward and learning from our failures. So if we are stuck by a fear of failure, man, we can't really go forward. And any kind of strategy that I teach you, anything else is not going to apply if you're held back by fear. I'm Megan, so I'm really excited to talk to you about a few kind of practical tips for ways that we can move beyond this fear of failure. And of course, nothing happens overnight. If it's something that's really a strong, something that holds you back very strongly, it's gonna take some work. It's gonna take some doing, but hopefully I can give you some good suggestions to help move you forward. Hi Jessica, who else is hopping on? For all of our new Elevate Academy members, welcome. This is my free Facebook group. I do a training or a talk, as this one is, every single Tuesday to help you to elevate your brand, your influence, and your mindset that you need to have the success that's required to scale your message and really get it out there, okay? So we are a group of heart-centered female online entrepreneurs plus a few guys who are welcome. But yeah, we wrapped up an awesome boot camp last week, launched a membership society. Intentional Influencer Society is our new membership group tonight at 6 p.m. So I'm gonna hop off this and hop onto our very first Zoom Q&A of the membership. It is free coaching. Anything that can be asked, whether it's from blogging to network marketing to social media influencing to affiliate marketing to Pinterest, I'm all about all of it. So in the membership, that is where questions can be asked and answered. Here it's more of a I love to give, I love to pour value into you all, but it's on my time, and I'm not going to be answering questions and giving free coaching in a free group, right? So if you want the coaching and you want the trainings and you want all of that kind of stuff, you got to get in the membership. So if you, I wanted to mention, because I am lazy, I have not changed the founding members price. I'm not going to be, promoting it, sending any kind of emails about it. I think all the information is out there. If you want to get in, the founding member price still stands because I have not changed my sales page. So if you want to find that and you do want to get in on it, we basically start today, and it's going to be awesome. And I really want, and aside from me being lazy, I do really want as many of you in that group as possible from the ground floor, because I know it's going to change your business. I know it's going to change your life. Honestly, the community that's in there alone of other female online entrepreneurs who are really, really on, they're on their up level, right? They're on their up level with the intent to create impact in the online space and also to create income, and not to do that just through network marketing, but to do that through their personal brand. So I really want everyone to be in that group. So I'm gonna leave the founder's price for a few days, in the hopes that more of you will choose to join us, because it's going to be awesome. And we're not getting started with so tonight's Q&A. Next week is all of the training for our July challenge. And our July challenge is going to be a brand content consistency challenge. So a lot of you had questions last week during the bootcamp about, well, what do I post? How often do I post? How do I know, how do I create content? What kind of content do I share? I'm going to literally be giving a roadmap for all of that, and then accountability to implement. So training for all of that, including daily method of operation, which you need, all the things, starts next week. So I'm gonna leave it open for another week. I'm gonna leave it open for another week because something tells me that I should do that. So I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna promote it. You've heard me say it here. Find the link if you wanna join. Yeah, the brand, it's gonna be awesome. I've never seen it done. I've done it myself. Like, I've done my own brand content consistency challenges, and they're very effective. So I'm like, well, this should work if I give you guys the same tools. All right, so let's get on with it, because I have until like 5 minutes until 6 to talk to you about a bunch of stuff. So I'm gonna read you a few thoughts, and I want you to answer in the comments with a little raised hand emoji, because you guys know I love that. Raised hand emoji if any of these sound familiar, okay? Because I talk to a lot of women all the time, and one thing that I hear a lot that is a holdback is this fear of failure. And it's not just one version of that, right? There's many versions. So you tell me, do any of these sound familiar? And I would love for you to just raise your hand when you hear one that sounds like you. Okay, so I tried this before and it didn't work out. What if I try and get it wrong? I'll feel like a failure. Or I tried that before and it didn't work. What if I try again and I still get it wrong? I'm gonna feel like such a failure. I'm not good at XYZ. I'm really not good at XYZ. So I'm just not gonna commit to it fully. I'm not that good at it, so I'm not gonna commit to it fully because I'm not really sure, you know, if I'm gonna be able to do that well. Okay, thank you, Megan. I have teammates, so here's a flip side to this. I have teammates who sign up and literally don't do anything. So I've had teammates who sign up and literally don't do anything. Why is that? It makes no sense. They said that they were gonna be a runner. They said that they were gonna blow it up, and then they kind of quit before they even got started. Why is that? Does that sound familiar? What if I put my all into something and I come up short? What if I really go for it? I commit, I go all out, and I still come up short? That would suck. I'd be so embarrassed. What if I try and I fail? What will they think? What will they say? Does that come up for you? Is it like a they thing? What if I try and I fail? What will they, whoever they is for you, what will they think? What will they say about me, to my face or behind my back? What will they say? Is that part of your fear? Is that a big driver for you? Thank you, Jody. Thank you, Janelle, for your honesty. And I'm just gonna say, I've thought almost all of these at some point. I've had a raise hand emoji too, so I'm not like the sage on the stage trying to tell you that I'm perfect. No, not even close. I'm actually gonna tell you about my biggest failure, a really big failure, and why that has made me the person that I am, who's not that afraid of failure. So I'm gonna tell you like all the goods, so don't worry. What about this? If I do post, share, or say this or that, what will others say to or about me? So if I share this, if I do this, if I don't do this, like what will others say about me, or what will they say to me? Hi, Dylan. What about this one? I'm not sure that I know what I'm doing exactly, so I'm just not gonna start. So I'm not sure I know what I'm doing exactly, so I'm just not gonna start, because if I don't start, if I don't take that risk, then I actually can't fail, so lose-win. That's what I'm thinking in my head. That's a lose-win, because, yeah. So do you ever have that thought? I don't exactly know what I'm doing, so rather than trying and rather than moving forward, I'm just gonna stay here in Mediocreville versus trying, because at least then I don't have to fail. I don't have to be seen as failing. I don't have to feel that sting of failure if I don't start. I can't fail if I don't start. Okay, is that you? Hi, Megan. Jessica, let's see, that question has been in my head and I haven't posted. Okay, Dylan, then this live is for you, my dear. This live is definitely for you. I knew it's for someone. I think this live is for a lot of you, because I was not planning on talking about this at all. And then I had about 10 conversations, 10 conversations in a row, you guys, with different people about, it all came down to fear of failure. I'm like, oh my gosh, like my community needs this. We need to talk about this for like weeks and weeks and break through this, because what is the point of me even teaching? I was thinking about the brand content consistency challenge, which is going to be fire. If you're not in the membership, hello, you can cancel anytime. So basically it's $67 like for the challenge. Don't cancel though. Don't cancel. Okay, but anyways, I was thinking about the brand content consistency challenge and thinking, well, But what happens if our whole community is stuck in fear of failure and then won't do the things that I know will advance your business, like, and your influence? What then? Like, where are we? How can I get anyone results if I don't start with the mindset piece, right? This is huge. Fear of failure is huge, and that's what we need to be working on alongside of strategy, right? Dylan, you can. I said in the beginning, I haven't changed founding members pricing. Number one, because I'm lazy, and number two, because I know that there are other people who are meant to be in there that aren't in there yet. And sometimes it takes people a while to like see lives and read emails and stuff. So I'm going to leave it open until we start the training next week. Tonight is the first live Q&A. So I need to keep this open so I can see my time. All right, so hopefully you could relate to one of those questions, because otherwise this is gonna go in one ear, stick in your ego, and not come out the other. Okay, so let's talk about why this is important. So fear of failure, this is like the number one thing that holds people back. Like you'll see people that are super successful and you're like, well, what's the difference there between this awesome person here who has so much to give, but they're not making any progress? I feel like almost all the time it comes down to they're stuck because of their ego and or fear of failure, in like this place where they just can't progress forward, or they can't take the actions that are required, and they can't show up powerfully and consistently as you would need to not fail. So then they keep failing, right? So there's never, I'm going to talk to you about why failure is so necessary, but if you can't even move forward in the way that you would need to be successful, there is no chance, and that's got to be really defeating. So this is, if you can conquer or start to defeat that fear of failure within yourself, that's the only way that you're going to get towards doing the things you need to do to be successful. I don't know if I'm rambling or if that's making sense. Hi, Melissa. So ego, I posted about ego about an hour or two ago, just some thoughts on it. And really, because when it comes down to it, ego is the source, I think, and from what I've read and researched, our ego is really the source of that fear of failure. Because sometimes you're like, well, where does this come from? This doesn't even really make sense. I can't get past it. But our ego, that I part of us, that self-protection, it will do literally anything within its power so that we don't get hurt, right? It's in some ways it's really good. Like, it doesn't want to see us get hurt. It doesn't want to feel rejected. It doesn't want to feel this failure, and it labels failure as bad, right? It labels it as like this bad thing that we don't want to, it's going to ruin our sense of self-esteem. It's going to make us feel bad about ourselves if we fail. When failure is not inherently a bad thing. You have to fail in micro ways and sometimes on larger ways to really grow, to learn, to be interesting, by the way. If you've never failed and your story is just, you just showed up, I started from the top and now I'm here, like that's your story, that's not, Drake would not have written a song about that. That makes no sense, right? That's not interesting. But our ego is like, oh no, I must protect myself at all costs. I must not fail because I don't want to feel, I don't want to feel that. So it gives us like this sense of fear about failing when it doesn't have to be that way. It really doesn't have to be that way. So much I want to say, but I want to get to the application of what you can do to conquer this. I read something the other day. I'm just going to throw this out there because I thought this was super interesting in kind of the role that our ego plays in this whole fear of failure. And part of it is like, and I've experienced this, so I'm going to speak to this, where we don't do something, we don't want to move forward on something, we stay stuck because our egos are really good at blaming other people for why things are going wrong. So think about relationships you've been in. Think about jobs you've been in. Think about your business. If you can think about like your network marketing business, if you can blame other people for why you're not succeeding, like that's like our ego's go-to, right? Like, this isn't going right for me. Ego is I and me. This isn't going right for me because of this person and this person and this thing and that company and this person's character flaw and this, and you're pointing the blame elsewhere, it's like deflecting criticism. But our ego also is smart and knows if we take the steps forward and we actually do the things we need to do and then we still fail, it's harder to deflect blame, right? If you're like, I gave my all to my marriage. I gave my all to this workout program for a year. I gave my all to my team. I gave my all to my business. I gave my all to branding myself and learning what I need to do, and then I failed. Then your ego is like crushed, right? Because there's no one to blame except for you, and our ego sees that as bad. It doesn't know what to do with that. It's like, wait, I'm gonna lose that dream that I have, and I can't see beyond. Like, how would our egos can't see beyond this one thing, right? It's like this one dream, this one way things have to go, and if they don't go that way, there's nothing else over here. There's no growth beyond here that could lead to something even better, right? That's what keeps us stuck, because we're frozen in that, like, oh, this is too much of a risk. I can't do it. Because I've talked to, this week especially, I've talked to several people who, like, why, like, we're trying to hash out, okay, why aren't you moving forward? And a lot of times it's like, well, like, I'm not able to break through this certain level because it would require a new version of myself. It would require, okay, we're gonna get into that. The dreaded I syndrome. I know, you guys, this is so complex, so I apologize if I'm speaking really fast. There's so many layers upon layers. I wish I could talk to you guys about this forever and ever. I think maybe we'll do a part 2 next week, because if you have a fear of failure, or you have people on your team who have a fear of failure, you need to help them move through this. This is why you'll have people sign up, they're like, woo, I'm gonna crush it, and they ghost you because they get stuck. They're like, ego comes up. Oop, there's a learning curve. Oop, I'm not good at that. Oops, you're saying to go, going live would boost my business. I can't do that. I'm scared. I might fail. And then they just quit before they get started because their ego won't let them progress. And if you can't help them, like, identify what's going on and move through that, then you're gonna have people who could do really well and who could change their lives and others' lives that won't be able to do it because they'll get stuck, because they'll have this expectation that, they need to be perfect. And you're not responsible as a leader. You're not responsible for that at all. But I think it does help to have that understanding so that when you hear certain things that people say, you can address it. You can really know kind of what's going on in there. Thank you, Megan. It's an important topic for life and definitely for business. So, all right, I'm almost to my 2s. Okay, I'm gonna tell you guys about a couple personal experiences. We're gonna get personal because I think this will hopefully give you more of an understanding of maybe of me and maybe some of why, sometimes I think we see people and they're like, oh, they're so confident. Like, how is that possible? Well, it wasn't always that way, right? Or now they're not scared of, they just keep, playing bigger and this and that. It wasn't always that way, right? And so I think sometimes it's helpful if you're, if you put yourself in a position, like I teach you guys, like if you're trying to build your influence, you need to put yourself in a position of being a role model, but part of being a role model is being vulnerable and sharing how did you get where you are? How are you planning to get where you want to go, and kind of share that journey. So I obviously intend to practice what I preach, because that's what I do. So for me, the biggest failure that I had, and I don't recommend this, I'm not recommending this. This is not something I'm saying like, go do this. In fact, there's many things I did that I would go back and change, maybe. But I am divorced. I don't know if any of you know that I'm remarried now. I have Taylor, but I got married when I was really young and got divorced 10 years ago now. And for me, that was like the epitome of failure. Like that, like, I grew up in a like very, very like, my parents are from the South. It was very like, Southern, like strict. I'm Christian, but very much like divorce was not like looked upon well. And again, not a proponent of divorce, but I failed. I had a failed marriage, and it was public. Like, you can't really keep that private per se. And all of those fears of, failure, all of those fears of like, what are people going to say? They all happened, right? They all happened. Like, I lost friends. People talked to me negatively. They talked about me negatively. Not everyone, but all of those things that when you fear something and you're like, oh, what are they going to say? What are they going to do? What's going to happen? They all did. On a the most intimate, heart, personal level, I had a failure, a big one, right? And it's so complex to share, like, what came out of that. But one takeaway, obviously, I made mistakes in, all along the way. But now, to come through the other side of a huge failure, and I don't know if you've had a huge life failure like that or a business failure like that, but I think one thing that did for me was to show me that, number one, it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't. It was really freaking hard. It didn't feel great, but there were also, my world didn't end, and there were also so many things about me that came out of that by the grace of God and by what He taught me and the person I developed into because of my mistakes, because of my failures, because I had to humble myself and really take a look at, if I don't want another failed marriage, like, what do I need to look at in myself? It taught me that, right? Like, that huge failure, again, I don't wish that upon anyone, but that made me into the person that I am. Without that, I wouldn't have or be a lot of who I am now. Absolutely not. And that only came out of a monstrous failure. So my takeaway from that for my own life, and why sometimes you see me, you're like, oh, how do you have no fear about this or that? It's because I know that the worst thing that can happen if I fail is that I become better and I do better the next time for the people that I'm meant to serve in life, in love, in business, right? That is how it works, hands down. You can only grow from that. You have to fail to move forward. You have to. And of course, you don't want to have a huge catastrophic failure like that. But if you do, when you get through that, when you put in the work to up level and do the work needed to be done to get better, you will have a story and a message to share with other people. The fact that I'm giving this live right now, I would not be doing this at all if I didn't go through the biggest failure of my life in getting a divorce 10 years ago, right? But everything, it's like nothing is wasted. I'll keep telling you guys that nothing is wasted unless you let it be, unless you let your ego take over and be like, you failed, blah, like you have no message, you're never gonna be you're never gonna be in a happy marriage again. You can't do this. You failed before. You'll never succeed again. And if you stay stuck in that place, then yeah, like self-fulfilling prophecy, that's all you're gonna get out of life, out of love, out of business. So here's what you can do. So I don't want you to go get a divorce and that's gonna be your answer to all of your business problems. But there are some things that you can do. And I still have to remind myself of these things. You guys, I just launched our membership society, Intentional Influencer Society, last week. That's been something that I've wanted to do for a very long time. But to be honest, I had to check myself. I'm like, I think I'm a little bit scared of failure. And that's not right, because if I'm practicing what I preach and I'm going to tell you how it is that I checked myself, I was like, no, I'm doing it. I kind of didn't want to do a second run on the academy, on the Influence, Impact, and Income Academy. I was honestly a little scared. I'm like, it's, what if no one wants to, do it? Okay, a little fear of failure, but that's ego driven. That's about me and how I'm going to be perceived. It's not about who I'm wanting to serve. So I had to check myself real fast. I'm like, nope, we're doing it because I know this is valuable. I know I'm meant to, provide this for whoever wants it, right? So anyway, I get this all the time, right? But now it's a quicker check. And so I want you to get into that quicker check where it's like, nope, ego, move forward. Nope, ego, move forward, right? Stop getting stuck. I don't want you guys stuck. And I only have a few minutes left. I only have a few minutes left, so let me give you these takeaways, and then those of you who are if you're in the Intentional Influencer Society, if someone can just drop in there that I'm probably going to be about 5 minutes late just to like get on the Zoom and all of that, that would be awesome. Here's what you can do. So acclimate yourself to failure. Okay? So I don't want you to go out and get a divorce. I don't want you to go out and have a catastrophic failure to do this. Acclimate yourself. You know, just like when you're getting into like a cold pool, you kind of like get in slowly and your body adjusts to the coldness rather than diving into the cold water and getting like hypothermia shock or whatever. Acclimate your ego and acclimate yourself to failure and start to feel it's not that bad. Like, okay, like you failed at something, like do push-ups. Do push-ups every day from your knees or however you need to do it until you fail, okay? And realize, oh, wait a minute, I'm getting stronger. Okay, because I failed at my last push-up, that's how you're getting stronger. So train your brain to understand that concept. Go learn like a foreign language because you're gonna fail at that, right? Like that's in the privacy of your own home. Go and like try to learn a foreign language, give yourself some vocabulary, flashcards or something. You're not gonna be able to be perfect at it, but you'll realize, okay, hey, this is cool, I'm learning, I'm growing. I failed at that. It was kind of a small failure, but your ego will start to see, oh, but this is how I'm like getting better in kind of a comfortable environment. There's a reason, if you're in the membership, there's a reason why I asked, not demanded, but asked that everyone go live for 2 minutes. And I gave you specific things to share. That is because I know some of you are scared to go live. I know some of you are scared you have that fear of like, oh, what if I totally botch this live? I used to have that fear too, and then I did botch a couple lives. I'm like, well, that wasn't the end of the world. And if I never botched a few lives, if I never you have to fail. This is, if you hear nothing else, you have to fail. It's totally normal. So there's a reason why. Get into a safe space, create a Facebook group and go live with like a couple of friends until you get comfortable. Like do things that you might fail at and just let yourself fail. Like let yourself fail, let yourself acclimate, let your ego understand that it's, it's okay. You're going to start feeling so much more freedom to really chase your dreams, to just show up however and show up imperfectly and, botch things and make mistakes and then keep moving forward. And as you move forward, you're going to get momentum and you will start seeing successes. Okay. One thing, I don't think I wrote this, but one thing I find super helpful is go Google or go read biographies of people who achieved success or acclaim or have made a huge impact. Read their stories, please. Read their stories. I don't know of anyone who I respect and admire who didn't have a ton of failures that led them there, right? Just Google like successful people's failures and you'll see like lists of like Michael Jordan, Oprah, Picasso, like every single person had a ton of failures behind all the acclaim that you see. And so if we think we're like supposed to show up as these perfect human beings, that's our ego talking, right? So that's a suggestion. Go and do that tonight. Go read about someone you admire and find their failures because they have them, okay? And realize that can be part of your story. That's interesting. That's what makes someone inspiring. That's what makes them interesting. If they never failed, if they never struggle, it's not interesting. It's not attractive, right? Attraction marketing. You want to be attractive, you gotta have a story to tell. And part of that is failures. Okay, celebrating your failure. Okay, so celebrating your failure. So first of all, focusing on the activities that you're doing versus just like the accomplishments. Like your ego wants like the win, right? Like I won, I did this. It's not really about that though. It's the journey, it's the process. And I know that's cheesy, but celebrate your wins and celebrate your failures. Like, okay, like let's dive into that. That did not go well, right? Like that, whatever it was that you're doing, that launch or that business, like whatever it was, if it didn't go well, look at it like, all right, now I get to analyze this and now I get this chance to like up level because now I know that didn't go well. And so now I might need to seek out counsel. I might need to seek out help for why didn't that go well? Okay. There's no shame in that. That's what you should do, right? If you're, seek out new, invest in yourself, basically invest your time. Like this is a little bit of a hard truth, but I think sometimes people are like, well, I failed before, so what if I fail again? And sometimes my answer to that is, well, you might. Have you looked at why you failed before? Because if you haven't done the work, if you haven't looked at that, if you haven't changed things to be in alignment, if you haven't, done the work to invest in yourself and your business and your life, whatever it is, you might fail again. And then that really is on you, right? And then there's no learning. And then that's a bad pattern, right? That's like fail, 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 but no learning. And that's when people just totally quit on their dreams. They never live out, fully as they could. But if you fail forward and you're learning from that all along, that's awesome. Like, that's what you want to do. Like, celebrate the opportunity to learn something. And part of that is, I put, that's convincing your ego that failure is good. And part of like reading biographies and stuff like that is the same process, like convincing your ego that failure is good. Like, everyone who's successful has failure. So therefore ego must need to fail, right? We kind of trick our subconscious a little bit here, but it really does work. And then I kind of mentioned this, but humbling ourselves. So humbling ourselves to think, okay, like, for example, okay, so the Academy launch, it wasn't a failure, because I don't think of things as failures, but it didn't go exactly as I planned. But I was like, you know what? I didn't do X, Y, and Z, and I need to up-level my skill sets in X, Y, and Z. I need to, you know what I mean? Like, I looked at it immediately and wasn't like, oh my gosh, like I didn't have 20 people enroll or whatever. It was more like, all right, I got to humble myself here, because something is either off in my messaging. I don't have the numbers to support the numbers that I would want for enrollment. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I look at things. I'm like, all right, you've got to humble yourself and think about what do you need to do? So if you're like, well, I'm not enrolling enough people in my business, are you looking at why, right? Does this make sense? Like, are you looking at why? So you might need to humble yourself and, get into a new community. You might need to shift businesses entirely. There's all kinds of things, but you have to really humble yourself and admit that you're holding yourself back. Number one, ego's involved. You're holding yourself back. And then what do you need to do to actually like up level so that you have a better chance of failing faster, right? Failing forward faster next time, and then eventually getting to success, and then going through the whole process again. Okay, Bonnie, yeah, I gotta hop off anyway too. And then last but not least, this is the most important one, is to do everything, create everything for others, right? If you take it off of I, like, okay, what am I getting out of this? How much money am I making? What am I getting out of my relationship? All of those things, right? If we take it out of that and say, okay, well, like, how can I create for someone else, for the one, right? Like, how can I create this post for the one, this blog post, this course, this, whatever it is that you're doing. If you create for impact, okay, if you create for impact, you create for others, then you really can't, there is no failing in that, right? You have your heart's in the right place. You're making moves in order to help other people, and it becomes not about you, right? And that alone, when you're motivated by impact and you're motivated to serve other people, it's really hard to then hold yourself back. When you have a really strong sense of your purpose for serving others, you realize, if I hold myself back and I don't do the work to get past this fear of failure, I am withholding my message and my goodness and the message that God has given me to get out there, and the products and everything else. You're actually like, that's not good. That's not right. And so for me, that's like a moral obligation, right? And so when you have that passion in you, that's going to be something that will help propel you forward, if that makes sense. And it's going to help you to want to build the mindset and the skill set and all those things that are needed. Like, if you want to get to a new level, you've got to up level something. Like, doing the same thing that you've been doing over and over and over again is not what's going to get you to your next level. And I think sometimes we think it is. I know I did that for a while. I was like, why am I not like this and that? Well, what are you doing different, right? Like, what are you doing that's actually, advancing that goal, right? So I think sometimes we just have to check ourselves and what it is that we're actually doing and our expectations and all of that, in order to help us move forward and hopefully get past this dang fear of failure and this ego-driven fear of failure, because it's not about us, right? There certainly, like, we've been hurt, we've hurt ourselves by our own actions, and all of those things are in the past, but those don't mean that you can't be successful in the future. But it's going to require a different you. It's going to require you to do some reflection and some work to move forward, and understand that your failures are what's going to shape your successes, and they really will. So anyway, I'm going to hop over into our Intentional Influencer Society. First, number 1 Q&A, answer some questions there, but I hope you found value in this. If you did, hashtag value in the comments. If you're not in the membership, again, get your butt in there. I haven't changed the sales page. It's $67 and you can cancel anytime. I don't think you'll want to, but you won't hurt my feelings if you do, right? All right, so I'll talk to you guys later. Love you. Bye.